Hey, hello. Welcome to Founders Live Seattle. My name is Amelia Marckworth. I'm the city leader. So excited to have you joining us today. If this is your first time at Founders Live, welcome. If you've been with us before, really glad to have you back. This is obviously a virtual show. We are planning to have our February event in person at the Collective, February 24th. So we'll be sending information out about that. But while you're here, go ahead, like this video, send it to a friend, grab yourself a beverage, and get ready for a fun evening. I'm going to start off with an awesome conversation with my friend Marshall. Right as we're getting going, do us a favor, share out this YouTube video link, see if there's anyone in your network you think should be joining us, because we're about to have an awesome conversation with some of our favorite founders locally. We're going to have a really great group of folks coming. So thank you all for being here. Go ahead, give us a second, like this video for us while we are getting going with Marshall Hugh from the Marshall Law Band. You may have heard about Marshall Law in local news coverage, KOW, they're in KEXP. They are one of the city's hottest bands. Marshall was kind enough to join us a little over a year ago. And so much has happened for them and for the city. So he's back to talk with us about what he's been up to, what he's seeing in the local culture. So Marshall, come on up. How are you?
I'm doing great. Amelia, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So Marshall, tell us just quickly about yourself, Marshall Law Band.
Yeah. What's going on, Founders Live? Thank you so much for having us back. And this is something that I really look forward to, especially connecting with PNW creatives and people that are willing to step outside the box and be entrepreneurs in their own right. So as she mentioned, I'm in a band, I'm a musician, but I view myself a lot more than that. I view myself as, a Black business owner, a promoter, an event curator, someone who's dedicated towards pushing the Pacific Northwest culture forward and making connections in a regional, a national, and hopefully one day intergalactical impact. So yeah, that's me. I'm Marshall Hugh. I make music, I rap, and I say my opinion boldly and loudly in different mediums.
Love it. Well, Marshall, I'm going to have us watch just a clip of your actually TEDx Seattle talk from a few months ago. You might have seen Marshall, Pulitzer Prize nominated artist, like unofficial Chop House band, and of course, a local expert talking at the last TEDx Seattle. So folks, I'm going to go ahead and share in some of this video, which I think gives a great overview of just a little background about the band.
Change the world, don't forget that. All right, so speaking of change, our next set of speakers will be exploring the transformational power of community. We'll be looking at how we measure educational success and how we can use a journalist's tools to bridge the ideological divide. So we're on to session 3, looking at the world through the lens of where we are. So we are going to start this session with, as you can see, with some music, some homegrown protest music from our own Marshall Law Band from Seattle. Yeah. So back in early 2020, the band was about to embark on a nationwide tour. They were going to start at the South by Southwest Festival. That was February 2020. Now you can imagine what happened, right? They did not go on that tour. Performances were canceled and the band was sidelined. But what happened next was pivotal. The murder of George Floyd led to protests around the world and here in Seattle as well. And the band just jumped into the fray. They started performing night after night for the protesters, so much so that the Seattle Times called them the house band of the Black Lives Matter movement here in Seattle, right? Their debut album is called 12th and Pine, which refers to the zone where they did their performances, the Chop Zone in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. So please welcome lead vocalist Marshall Hugh and the Marshall Law Band.
Well, here we are, Seattle's own martial law band. They say we some PNW portal icons right smack dab in the middle of a cultural renaissance in the city where it popped off. At this point, it doesn't really matter where you know us from. Could be the Pulitzer Prize buzz, Fremont Fridays, Mojam Mondays, KXP, Seattle Times. It's all the same to us. We're on a relentless mission to spread love and unify the people through music. Hey, I got to get through this in 15 minutes, y'all.
Hey, Mark. You guys need to go check this out. I wish I had time to show the entire interview with you that you did at TEDx. I'll try to pull in a couple more clips from that for folks. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's awesome. But Marshall, tell me about your kind of mission to spread love. What does that look like, especially during, super tumultuous, weird 2020, 2021, 2022 times? What's that look like for you?
Well, for me, it starts on a day-to-day basis, right? Waking up and not exposing myself directly to my phone or social media, spending some time stretching out, drinking some water, playing a beat, and getting involved immediately creatively. And that allows me to kind of view the world through different lenses than most people, because as soon as most people wake up, the first thing they're doing is checking to see what's going on outside of themselves. The first thing I do when I wake up is I spend time checking to see what's going on inside of myself. Once I spend that time and kind of set that intention for the day, it allows me to go about, my different band businesses and emails. I'm just like any other business, I'm emailing constantly, I'm DMing constantly, I'm posting on social media, and the aggregate of all of those actions filtered with a lens of self-cleansing and self-healing allows me to go into the world and perform a lot of shows, do a lot of opportunities like this where I get to speak and share my passion and get access to amazing platforms like TEDx Seattle over time that, make a blip in our region of the way people treat each other. And so I feel like what I've been able to do is show, okay, I never say never, or never quit attitude, even though COVID's going on and all these concerts are canceled. Okay, so we're going to build a parade float and we're going to drive around Seattle and play our music. And, even though I'm not able to go through the traditional paths like getting immediately on Seattle Times, okay, I have my social media. So the day-to-day spreading love to myself and staying consistent on my tasks leads to these larger opportunities where you're able to say something and do something and see the impact trickle out to the community. So I feel incredibly blessed. And the TED Talk itself is actually dropping on the TEDx YouTube platform in about 3 weeks. I just got that news today. So I'm really excited to kind of move on to the next step and phase and continue to spread love.
That's awesome. Well, we are so excited to have you back. Nick says, thanks, Marshall. Thanks for being here. I know we have some fans in the crowd.
Hey,
if you're watching from home right now and you have questions for Marshall, we want to, have this be interactive. Drop them in the chat. We'll pull them up. Make sure that you can get your questions for Marshall. But Marsh, I think my first question is, just tell us a little bit about kind of what you've done the last year, and maybe a little bit about where you're headed.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, like Deborah Wong mentioned. We were headed on our first national tour as a band that always spoke about social issues and spoke on relevant topics in pop culture. We were headed on our first national tour too. That not happening. George Floyd getting murdered, a swell of emotions and energy that ended up manifesting in us actually going out to the protest and playing directly for the people. That leading to our debut album and getting put into a platform to where it's now, okay, you're an artist activist. What are you going to do with that? And we went on to create this with I mentioned it's called the SS Jelly Bean. That's our mobile parade flow. We went on to use that stage to create Fremont Fridays, which was a weekly event every single Friday that was free for the community. We focused on, getting BIPOC and BIPOC vendors opportunities to do their talents and sell their products. And we did that for 15 straight Fridays all throughout the summer. And that was something that was super cool because it combined our initial goal of music, our newfound mission of activism and our overarching goal of spreading love, and allowed us to do it in our own way. I'm not used to just screaming in the front lines or going in there and putting my life at risk. I'd much prefer to use my art to speak for me. And that's what we spent the last summer doing. And then we had the opportunity to do the TED Talk, headline Neptune Theater, headline Numos twice, play the Woodland Park Zoo. All these dreams that were previously inaccessible became accessible after our trials and tribulations at CHOP, and all the work that we put into really describe the emotions and the pain and the stress of how ourselves and our immediate community felt during those times. So looking forward, been doing a lot of traveling, got out to Austin, got out to New York, got out to Portland, got out to Anchorage, got to LA a bunch, and all these places just laying seeds for when touring really does open back up, that we'll pull up there and do our thing. And I'm going on solo missions and then bringing the band along. We were out in Hawaii as well, ended up on the news out there. So we're just looking to use this newfound platform to spread more love and talk more about our past experiences and where we're headed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Marshall, one of the questions I have, especially as a creative entrepreneur, you're either in the studio making music, or you are, doing press or social media or interacting, building community. How do you balance working on your business, doing the stuff that's going to help you in the future, versus working in your business, the stuff that needs to get done to pay the bills or advance your day to day? What's kind of your approach to that?
Yeah, well, I'm extremely blessed to have the type of support system that I do around me. So I think you always hear about leaders and CEOs talk about delegation, and how over the past 2 years, I've really gone through the process of understanding how to delegate and where you can't do it all. And so I think I do an increasingly better job of passing off the ball. I know a couple of people might disagree with me because I'm always texting them and, hey, what is this? How's this doing? But, for somebody who's gotten used to doing it all, to giving people the freedom to do it their own way, or at least attempt it their own way, that's a long learning curve that I think has taken me 2-3 years, and I'm still working towards. And then for me, I think just regimentation, especially as an entrepreneur, or as you're working for yourself, it's setting a schedule as if you're working a 9 to 5 that just so happens to be working for yourself. So after I kind of talked about my routine, after I wake up, stretch, write a song, put on my social media posts, I tend to go work out, drink a smoothie, and do an hour and a half worth of emails or direct outreach. And that hour and a half usually at least gets me to a point to where I can then delegate to other people and say, hey, can you follow up with this person on email? Can you do that? And then from there, I'll go on to, I do other things to keep myself creatively inspired, whether it be coaching basketball or community organizing. And I'll go and handle that business. And then I try to sleep. I think that's a lot of thing that's not necessarily emphasized in our culture of entrepreneurship. Of course, those are times they're going to be having to pull all-nighters. But if you schedule your day properly and you allow yourself 7-8 hours of quality sleep, you don't approach the day groggy. You don't approach the day upset. You're not already exhausted. So a lot of the problems that come up, if you were exhausted, you really wouldn't be able to face them with the same type of vigor that if you're like, hey, I got a nice 7 hours. I got my matcha drink next to me. Like I can tackle this email right now.
I love that. I love it. Founders Live is all about community. So how can the community support you? What are you working towards? And how can we help?
Yeah, I think the main thing for us now is, I've accomplished my dream from when I left Carnegie Mellon of becoming like a Seattle rap star, or becoming something that, I walk down the street, people are honking at me, and all that is cool. But now it's time to work on that overarching dream, which is sharing community on a larger scale and showing Northwest culture to the rest of the world, so that they can look at some of the positives we have here and some of the negatives, and have that be a part of the grander discussion. Right now, New York, LA, Washington, DC, Texas, they're the ones that are drawing up all these conversations and making all these decisions. I think that the Pacific Northwest specifically has a lot to teach and a lot to learn. So I just want us to be a part of the conversation. So for me, it's if people can connect me with larger entities that have the financial backing to catapult us into the national discussion and stratosphere, that takes legitimate money. That's not something that you can do on a shoestring budget. That's not something you can do as a starving artist. And we're working hard on creating those revenue streams ourselves, but an influx of capital from somebody with the right intentions could send the martial law band and our whole entire creative region into the international discussion. So that's what I truly believe, and that's what I'm looking for, somebody that believes in my vision and my heart and my soul and the surrounding community that we've built around that vision, and to say, hey, I'm not trying to come here and change it, but I do see that you need your next step, and that's going to result in some money, which is a frustrating part about life, especially as an artist that preaches against the system and how to break it. But that's just the cold hard reality of the life we live in 2022.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what is your offer to community members? What are you doing to kind of build this ecosystem? I know you're all about the Pacific Northwest, Seattle vibes. You know, I'm born and raised here. I love it. It's the greatest. What are you putting back into the community right now?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. So number one, it starts from how we start the year. So Funksgiving was the show that we mentioned at Neptune. That wasn't just a show. That was also a kickoff for our annual give back for Cozy Connections. And basically what we do is we get as many donations and do as many events as possible in between Funksgiving and the Emerald City Gala. And then we go out on Christmas Day and do a give back for the houseless communities. And we were out there giving tarps, backpacks. Ready Ron and the Takeover Collective was out there giving haircuts. Drew at H206 events, coordinating food, and we were able to feed over 500 people, give haircuts to those who wanted them, provide a really good just vibe for the people on Christmas Day, and give out a bunch of backpacks, suitcase, sleeping bags, and connect with the people directly, not really through a third party, but through us just going out there on Occidental Park. So that's an example of what we've been doing, as well as Fremont Fridays, like I mentioned, having the vendors and a specific focus on how to uplift the community is creating these events that have natural draws in communities like Fremont, where you might not naturally catch a bunch of BIPOC people just congregating, let alone speaking on their business and profiting from their business, bringing people into that. You also mentioned the collective. You know, we've had multiple events at the collective where that network and that community gets to come and see what our flavor is and what we're doing. So those are things that we've already been doing, and we're just looking to expand those Cozy Connections give back events. We're already going to do Thanksgiving, but we're hoping to do 6 this year, do every other month, and then eventually get to a point where it's monthly, and then just give myself the room to grow into a person that can continue to be a platform for other entrepreneurs and other causes, and making sure during that social media time that I set aside to promote groups like Conscious Eatery that have given over 100,000 meals out this year. Groups like Lerv Network that gave 400 books back to Dessa Brown Medical Clinic, and just finding ways to use what I'm already doing and have it benefit people. Oh, like Bloodworks Northwest. There's another one. We used our platform and teamed up with everybody from Macklemore to Sub Pop to KXP to Starbucks to just talk about there's a blood shortage. We need about 10,000 new donors because we can't have in-person events anymore. So people hit me up, I lend my voice. A lot of times I'm looking for causes, I lend my voice, and then directly affiliated with the stuff that we kind of do annually.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what's next for you? Where's the next place we can hear Martial Law Band? Where are we going to be seeing you popping up next? I know you guys are never off the grind. So what can we look forward to?
Well, I'm really excited for the TED Talk to be dropped on like an official platform, and one with like a 32 million person subscription base. So you can expect to look around the city and see a bunch of like TED Talks, promotional stuff everywhere. We're going to really push that hard. While I'm coaching basketball, we're going to be locked in the studio creating our next album. We'll do a couple kind of secret shows to grease those songs, head into the studio, record them. And outside of that, you'll catch us just moving and shaking all around the world, back to Hawaii, South by Southwest, Treefort Fest, and Fremont Fridays will be coming back. So those of you that are in Seattle, come out to LTD. It's free for the people. It's open air, and it's the best time you're going to have in Seattle.
I love it. Well, let's end on one of your most recent music videos. We'll let folks watch this for the next couple minutes.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Check it out. It's going to get better.
Thanks, Marsh.
Tell me how I lived 3 lives in just 1 year. Open up the paper, see my face right there. Thought having fame would make the pain disappear. Instead it turned up the flame and it burned all my peers. Now they're looking at me different, like I'm chosen. Like my life better with my flaws in the open. Couldn't bury Granny cause of COVID. Uncle Larry was my heart, somehow his heart stopped working. People getting down bad with the sickness. Isolation, relationships, and evictions. Tell me how we fix it. Need to learn the difference between fact and fiction. Sit down and listen, then maybe we can find a better way. Brighter day, make a play, free the kids about the cage. Reunite the families, it's time to make a change. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, it's gonna get better with the MLA.
How can we live life knowing the kid all that soon? I'm feeling pressured and appreciated, always consumed by the lies people seem to say these days. Can't seem to find the answers, still stuck in my ways. Looking for a better means of life, trying to hang on, but guessing from the look that things wrong is right. Youngins out late selling that white to other youngins that be on the hype. Let it share it with the junkie on the street with a pipe. Not even caring about the players that be up late nights, Easy to say that we gotta make a way. Better days need to pray for the ones that ain't here with us today. It's gonna get better and I promise. Grind for the cheddar, making progress. Stay honest, we on it, can talk about it. We won't hustle off it. Blessed to wake up and think I'm on it. I promise. Stick together. I promise. It's gonna get better. I promise. Stick together. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
We are here checking in with Marshall Law Band. Thanks so much to Marshall Hugh for joining us from the good local MLB. If you guys have not seen them, check them out. You can definitely see more of them. Check out their website. Their social media is awesome. I am so excited to have them around. So big old thank you to Marshall. We appreciate you having here. We are going to get on because we have some other awesome companies that we're going to hear from when we continue on. Really quick though, I am going to pull up Nick Hughes, the founder of Founders Live. Nick, how are you doing?
Hello, doing well. Yeah, how are you doing?
Awesome.
Amelia?
I'm doing good. It's so fun to have Founders Live. It was just a year ago that I was starting to really take over the city events. So it's been quite a year of reflection. Kind of times like, you know, time is a flat circle, but you know, 2020 part 3.
I know.
But I know next month we're going to be in person, and it is still so much fun to connect with everyone, see everyone. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Obviously happy to be here. We are, you know, it's like, felt like yesterday that even we were looking at, this was late last year. It's like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to do it for real and get back into person in January. And then of course that didn't happen. We're hanging on, right? And here in Seattle, look, it's a tight group tonight. We're just doing it, making it happen. And here's one thing, everyone, is, that you look around and there's a lot of organizations that didn't make it through or they stopped their activity, and we've maintained. And some months this is a crazy live stream event with hundreds of people, and some months it's a little less, but I think we're ready. We are getting back into the in-person event, and we're excited about that on February 24th. And we will drop in the link for everyone on here. Grab that ticket right now to be able to snag a spot at the collective. We are getting back into it, and it's February 24th. It's the end of February, so we have another 4 weeks of Omicron cases dropping, and so we're gonna make that really excited. Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, for tonight, and whenever the next variant undoubtedly eventually comes around, We're hanging out virtually. Make sure you join us afterwards in the Kumo space. This is kind of a screenshot of what it looks like. It's so much fun. I mean, we've spent hours. Sometimes the after party is longer than the actual show just because people get to chatting and talking. We have some awesome conversations. So join us afterwards in Kumo space. It's a great time, and it's the next best thing to being in person with everyone. So excited for that. Make sure that you're sharing out this YouTube video. We really want to make sure that everyone can chat with us, even though it feels like 2020 month 33. Let us know where you're joining from, and really good to see you. Hey, Chandler, thanks for being here tonight. Let us know where you're joining from. If you have a startup you want to plug, put it in the chat, and we'll make sure to try to connect with you in the after party.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, hey, I just, just want to thank everyone. We got our partners here, and we have some past presenters. We're excited to hear from them and just get an update on what they're working on. So thank you all so much for being here. It just kind of feels like trudging. It's like one of those snow days where you're like, I'm going to trudge through it and make it happen. So we're doing that tonight. Thank you so much. And last thing is, we are just about to drop some major things with Founders Live and new membership. Definitely pay attention to that and jump on there. We're doing some special things for the original, basically, like, if you join us, like, we're actually giving away things based on the urgency and the earliest people that actually step into our premium memberships that are coming together, and some really fun exclusive stuff. So pay attention, please be a part of that. And also, lastly, look forward to seeing everyone in person. This will be like the end of February. That event will be my first in-person event here in Seattle for like 3 years, I guess, or I don't know, however long it's been. But I'm excited for
eternity. No,
you had an in-person event, hybrid, and you did a good job of that. But I haven't stood in front of our Seattle audience for a long time.
Yeah, we got to get you back. Yeah, we this summer, if anyone was there, if you made it to the collective, I think it was July, we had there's this 3-week period where we thought everything was good, and it was amazing. So we're headed back there, we know, eventually. Well, thanks for joining us, Nick. We have some awesome companies to hear from. If this is your first time at Founders Live, I'm going to let you know what you're in store for. Obviously, tonight we're not doing competitive pitches. During this kind of reflective January time, we wanted to go back to some of our favorite presenters over the last year and a half, who've gone on from Founders Live to get investment, to expand, to grow, to hire. They're doing really exciting stuff. So we're going to have just a conversation with them. Make sure if you have questions at any point for the founder that we're talking to, put them in the chat. We'll pull those in. This is most fun when we have people really, asking their questions and making it feel interactive. So thanks for being here. We're talking about inspiration, education, entertainment. Everything we do at Founders Live has those three. So make sure you're tapping into both our global community as well as the local community here. Founders Live Online has all of the information. Founders Live is happening in Seattle. It's also happening in cities across the globe. So I just was talking to someone in Australia this afternoon who was going to try to join us tonight because he wanted to connect with the Seattle startup ecosystem. So make sure you plug in. It does not just stop after this evening. Check out Founders Live, the homepage of the Modern Entrepreneur, and make sure you stay around for our monthly live events. Sometimes they're online, sometimes they're in person, but we always have a ton of guests, 5 local companies, 99-second pitches, Q&A from the audience. And then when we're doing competitive pitches, the audience votes. You get to decide the winner that goes on. The Founders Live Seattle winner will go against the other winners from North American cities on to prime time, when we'll have a global showdown of the best ideas from across the globe. So one of our presenters today was the Founders Live Seattle winner that went on to pitch during prime time. So we'll hear a little bit from her. Make sure that you're checking into Founders Live. We are continuing to build out new things, new options, new ways to engage. It's happening in cities across the world. making sure we have performance, competition, and networking. If you are here tonight, make sure you drop your information in the chat, let people know how to connect with you. We really want to build this community even when we're not in the exact same room. So thanks for joining us at Founders Live here tonight. It started in Seattle. The very first Founders Live was in Seattle, and now it is across the world. We are in so many cities across the globe, about 85 cities, 26 countries, hundreds of events each year, and there are new ones growing. I know that there's a couple cities around the globe, so if you're not in Seattle, there may be a Founders Live chapter in your city that you could be the city leader of. So reach out to Nick, reach out to me, know how you can plug in. Expand.founderslive.com if you're in another city and think it should come to you where you're at. One of the reasons that I joined Founders Live and one of the reasons that I keep coming back is our 4 core values. We actually just added a 5th one. It's brand new for this year. I haven't even updated this information yet. But the first core value is respectful authenticity. We include everyone. We believe everyone has an equal opportunity to be successful. So leave your biases at the door. We are here for every type of business, every type of founder, really including everyone. Second, gathering around the campfire. We're all storytellers. We are here to connect, entertain, get down to that kind of root of what makes us human and connected. So find your campfire, even in Kumo space, and tell your story, connect with others. Also, open the door. Do nice things for people without expecting a return. You'll hear that theme throughout this show tonight. We're asking, you know, what do you need from this community and what are you offering to the community? How can you help out folks who are earlier in their entrepreneurial journey? And how can you learn from and ask questions from folks who are farther along? So tap in, make sure you're building your network, opening the door. And then last, no name tags. Obviously, this is virtual. It's kind of helpful to have our names below our faces, but really just don't be awkward. We're all here. We're all friends, even if we haven't met each other yet. Our last core value that we're adding is sustainability. So we'll be hearing more about that at our next event. Really excited to roll that out as a part of our core values. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to get into our conversations really soon. First, we have to give a shout out to the folks who make this possible, our awesome Founders Live sponsors. We're going to take a second to hear from some of them and give them a huge shout out and thank you, and let them know how they can support our community. So first up, we're going to hear from Bill from Now CFO. Hey, Bill, how are you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. I know. Bill, I'm going to pull you off for 1 second, and then we'll get you back and see if we can get the audio worked out. But if you guys have not heard from Now CFO, check them out. They're your one-stop shop for anything numbers related. So Bill, we'll hear from you back in a second. We'll shift over to Snoqualmie Casino. Takako, how are you today?
Fantastic tonight. How about you?
Doing great. Tell us all about Snoqualmie.
Well, Snoqualmie Casino is Seattle's closest, and getting in the game just got real. If you're a fan of the Super Bowl, we have an awesome big game event held in our ballroom on February 13th. If you're a fan of chicken wings, you can have an all-you-can-eat chicken wings ticket for only $49.99. So you could come in the ballroom and enjoy the game on 4 large screens, place your bet in our sports book, and have a grand old time. And if football's not your thing, we have some wonderful concerts coming up. We have Melissa Etheridge, Aaron Lewis, and if you love musicals, we have the music of Hamilton and Broadway shows. Go to snowcasino.com/entertainment, and you can find a lot of great entertainment. And we're proud to sponsor Founders Live.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Takako. Really awesome to have Snoqualmie Casino a part of our entrepreneurial competitions and our community. So thank you for joining us. See you soon. All right. Well, we're going to go back. Let's see. Bill, Now CFO. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Tell us all about Now CFO.
Yeah, thank you. You know, we're kind of reflecting on the journey that some of these companies have been on, and I was kind of thinking of it myself. When I joined Now CFO, we were in about a dozen cities around the country, mostly on the West. You know, now we're in 40 plus cities across the country, And it hasn't really stopped there. Now CFO, we do accounting and finance. So, we're your fractional CFO, your bookkeeper, your controller. But the more we work with these companies across the country, we've recognized different needs. And now CFO, the people there, we've got that entrepreneurial spirit, and we've sort of spun off a bunch of new companies to help our clients and the companies that we work with. And so, we've got Now Capital Advisors now that helps companies raise money. We've got DevFinity that helps design websites, to build platforms, data rooms, scalability that helps companies with training and job processes and documentation. And it's been really cool to see, because now when we work with our clients, we work with our companies around the country, there are so many different ways we can help them. And it's been pretty cool to see. So I'm really excited about 2022 and what we're going to be able to do this year. This is our 5th year with Founders Live. I love the startup community, so really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Bill. We love having Now CFO as a partner for Founders Live. I know that I've sent some awesome startups your way. So if you guys have questions, make sure you reach out to Bill and Morgan. They are the numbers whiz. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
All right. Also, huge shout out to Troy at Bernstein. They are huge supporters of Founders Live Seattle. They couldn't be here today, but make sure you reach out to them for anything your startup needs. Contact me if you want a referral. I'd love to introduce you to Troy. Also, huge shout out to WTIA, Washington Technology Industry Association, the state's coolest nonprofit. What's up, Nick?
Hey, Happy New Year. What's up, Founders Live?
Happy New Year. How are you doing?
I'm great. It is, I can't believe we're only a month in, but yeah, good start to the year.
Yeah. Well, tell us what you've been up to, or what WTIA has got going on.
Yeah. So I guess first, a little background on us. So Washington Technology Industry Association, our goal is to create a sustainable, equity-focused tech sector and a thriving community. And so what that means for startups is we provide stage-appropriate resources. So that could be an introduction, it could be health insurance, it could be one of our accelerator programs. I think you can see my email on there, but if you're interested, shoot me an email. We also do free memberships for startups. That comes with some different product discounts, access to events, a bunch of other things. So definitely reach out. But one sort of final call before I drop off here is applications are open for a few more days for the Equitable Innovation Accelerator by Find Ventures and the Department of Commerce. We're a partner on it as well. But if you are a founder from a group underrepresented in tech, check that out. 10 companies will get up to $100,000 in non-dilutive grant money to basically build their companies. So applications close on the 31st. And yeah, make sure to check that out. But otherwise, good luck to everyone tonight. Excited to see all 4 of them are WTI members and founder cohort companies. So yeah, should be fun.
Nice. Yeah. Well, shout out to WTIA. Thanks, Nick, for always being a part of the Founders Live Seattle, Cool Kids Club.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Thanks for being here, Nick. See you soon. Okay, and our last but not least, Nick of the evening, Nick Amar from Will and Way. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Amelia.
Really excited to have you here. Yeah, Will and Way is one of our newest sponsors, so tell us all about Jeff.
Sure thing. So, hey, everybody, I'm Nick Amar, founder and creative director at Will and Way. We're an independent agency that handles content marketing, SEO, PR, marketing automation, and advertising, focused on growing brands and with a soft spot for startups, of course. So basically, we come up with the stuff, we make it, and we get in front of your buyers so you can do more of what you love. Our secret sauce is a heavy investment in senior talent and a tech suite that empowers them to be productive and efficient without losing their creative edge. As part of the sponsorship, we're doing a free graphic design project for each of the Founders Live winners, along with an in-depth marketing consultation to bounce ideas around and start solving your unique problems. But our doors are always open, so any founder out there in the audience can benefit from a quick call with us. I'll leave my email in the chat, and you can also go to willandway.com and fill in any form. We'll find some time to talk. If you bring the will, we'll find a way.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Nick. Nick is also offering each of the companies that present a free graphic design, a logo revamp, or some other, useful graphic that, so if you're interested in connecting with Nick or, plugging in for Founders Live, please reach out to us. Thanks for being here, Nick.
Thank you, Amelia. Cheers.
All right. Next, we have to give a huge shout out to Melissa from Story Fruition. She could not be here tonight, but if you've seen Founders Live Seattle before, you know that Story Fruition is a huge piece of what we do. Each of our presenting companies gets pitch coaching directly from Melissa, who is a storytelling expert. If you're interested, let us know. We have several founders who say, you know, working with Melissa for an hour was the difference between not getting any funding and closing a round. So make sure you reach out to Melissa. Huge shout out. We love you, Melissa. Story Fruition is super fun. Make sure that you check them out, tap in with Melissa or reach out to me. All right, well, we are going to hear from some of our favorite presenters over the last year. They're going to tell us what they've gone on to do since Founders Live, what successes they have accomplished already, what's on deck for them, how they can give back to the community, and how we can support their next phase of growth. So let's hear from some awesome previous presenters, some of our Founders Live Seattle alumni companies. If you have questions for them, put them in the chat. We're going to hear a little bit of kind of what they've been up to, but we want an opportunity for you to ask your questions too. So share up this YouTube link and make sure to interact and let the founders know what you may have heard about their company or what you would like to see from them. All right, let's like this video and then we will get going. Make sure to join us for the after party networking in Kumo space. And it's showtime. So up first, I'm going to have Michael from Curie. Hey, Michael, how are you doing?
Oh, good.
Doing great. So tell us, when did you pitch Founders Live Seattle last?
Oh, we pitched, I think maybe August. So it's definitely after the last July live meetup. Awesome.
Well, tell us a little bit about Curie and what you do.
Yeah, so at Curie, we do something very simple. We turn photos into 3D models for use in augmented reality to back NFTs, as well as for the metaverse. And so we're taking entire product catalogs at a time in marketplaces, particularly in the areas like furniture and for sneakerheads, and converting thousands of products to 3D in weeks and not years. So if you think about it, there's about 500 million products that are represented by photos that are on the web today. And if you were to multiply that by the number of metaverses, there's literally no army on the planet that would be able to make all that content. And so we understand that 3D is hard, and that what the metaverse means is that we're effectively asking brands today to become game developers. And so our goal is to try to make this process as frictionless as possible. And our end game is to be able to replace showrooms and photo galleries with AR and the metaverse is the dominant way to shop.
Cool. I'm going to pull in a little bit of a video of Curie at work. Now, I know that I've tried to use the Amazon or the Target, see what this looks like in your house. And it is always comically inaccurate. But Curie is totally different. Can you tell us a little bit about, what's your approach and kind of what's a little bit of your secret sauce that makes this work for you?
Yeah. So
or for me when I try it.
Yeah. So I think before, people would have to hire like an agency or work with very expensive photogrammetry equipment that require you to ship assets to a single warehouse. And so they couldn't really get started until you were able to pay for that large sort of manual process. And so by using machine learning, we're able to scale and charge more flexibly. So we actually don't charge up front. We actually are able to charge very similar to AWS and Azure. And it gives people a way to pay per view, as it were, and really experiment and see if AR is right for them.
Sweet. Well, Michael, tell us a little bit about some of the success you've had since pitching at Founders Live last.
Yeah, so we got into WTIA. We became a finalist for a Seattle Angel Conference. It was around that time that Facebook changed their name to Meta. So business started to take off. I think our due diligence officer said we're the only company that didn't really need to change their business model to be relevant to the metaverse. We got institutional funding from New York from a venture firm called XRC. They also invited us to speak at National Retail Federation, where we got to meet up with major brands such as Ralph Lauren and Zara. And we are in the midst of closing another 500K. And we're now working with e-commerce partners that have over 100 million views per month with hundreds of thousands of products to convert.
That is so cool. Can you share a few websites that we might see the technology working live? Are you kind of already in places? Is this something I can go try out right now?
Yeah, so we've launched with a furniture company in Europe that's looking to be the Wayfair of the EU. There's called Friendly.one. And so some of our augmented reality pieces are there. And we're also helping out local companies such as Moselle, which graduated the WTIA before us and is also a finalist for Founders Live.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mezcal, or Moselle Mezcal is awesome. I really want, unfortunately, the Mezcal takes forever to fully ferment. So I'm looking forward to, I think, 2024 when we can taste it. But tell us a little bit about, you've been through a lot with the Seattle community. I know that you've moved to Seattle semi-recently. So can you tell a little bit about, what you're really looking for in terms of support from the community, or things that, maybe we could all in the Seattle ecosystem do to support founders like you?
Yeah, so I would say that I'm relatively new to the area and I'm still networking to meet local talent. I feel that the Pacific Northwest is a hotbed for not just retail, but also an area called computer vision. So there's projects at UW working with, Snap and Google and Microsoft and Apple for doing all sorts of augmented reality and computer vision projects. And so we're looking to hire additional local talent. And, if you think about the amount of effort that goes into converting all the world's products into 3D, we'll need as much help as we can get.
Yeah. I know, Michael, one of the things that you were saying was, just kind of breaking into the Seattle ecosystem and kind of our unique startup culture that is so focused on, kind of B2B businesses with tech and futuristic, kind of thinking. Are there any sort of gaps or, things that you may have seen in some of the other entrepreneurial ecosystems where you've lived or worked that you'd love to see brought into the Seattle area?
Yeah, so I would love to see more and more communities looking to support pretty much the foundation of innovation here in Seattle, which are the founders. There's sort of a lot of funds in the area that are looking to provide sort of contests and things that sort of help educate angels, but would love to see a way to sort of bridge the gap between going from idea stage to even Series A. And so I think that infrastructure is there in some other ecosystems, such as especially the Bay in New York, and even parts of Texas. And I'd love to see more of that opportunity here in the area.
Well, Michael, I'm really glad to have you as a part of, selfishly, the Seattle ecosystem. I know that I've seen you in a ton of different spaces and places. So what are you thinking? You've landed in Seattle. What are you trying to kind of give back to the community, or what can you offer to community members who are maybe earlier in their journeys?
Yeah, so I think that just like we're helping out companies like Moselle, we'd love to be able to represent even more companies here in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. So there's a lot of local e-commerce companies and retailers that we can help provide a virtual showroom for that's more safe and contactless. And also, a lot of metaverses are being made out here. So we'd love to be able to solve for the problem of having more variety for their avatars and bringing more supply of objects and things into their 3D worlds.
Sweet. Well, let us know what's next for you and for Curie.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of sales pretty much manually. So we're working on a self-serve system. So companies would be able to sign up very similar to Stripe and just start making calls to our API or being able to drop in some HTML into their websites. We're also looking to solve part of the problem for metaverse interoperability. If you think about if you buy something from Amazon, it's immediately useful. You can wear it, you can use it. But if you buy something like an NFT, you can't today. And so how much more valuable would these assets be if you could actually wear these things and use these things from world to world? And we're helping to solve at least the visibility part of it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, Michael. I think Curie is such a cool local startup and company, and I'm excited to watch you guys continue to grow and engage with the Seattle ecosystem. So if you guys have a company you think needs to be working with Curie, reach out to Michael. And Michael, thank you so much for being here and representing Founders Live Seattle.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to you soon. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in. I love hearing updates from some of our past presenters, the successes they've had, investments. It just is so exciting in the, 6 months since Michael pitched, how much he has come forward. I am going to give you an update. Would like to share some conversation with Danny Applegate of rThreat. Danny actually won Founders Live Seattle a little over a year ago and went on to represent Founders Live Seattle at the Global Pitch Competition, the finals, in prime time for Founders Live Global. So she could not join us tonight. She unfortunately has a meeting that she could not move, so she sends her big hugs and high fives. But she was able to sit down with me a little bit earlier and have a conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and share that video with you. And let's hear from Danny. All right. Hello. Welcome, Danny. So excited to have you back for Founders Live Seattle. Danny is the co-founder and CMO of rThreat, one of our favorite Seattle companies that's come through Founders Live Seattle. So Danny, thanks so much for being here. For those of you who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about rThreat.
Sure. Thanks, Amelia, again for having us on, and it's good to see everyone here today. So yeah, rThreat, we are a cybersecurity startup based out of Bellingham, Washington. And specifically what we specialize in is continuous security validation. So we kind of act as your dress rehearsal for cyber threats. So what our platform does is we are able to test your cyber defenses using live malware. So it's the real thing, but it all takes place in a safe environment. So your network and your business is never actually put at risk. However, you're able to gain a true understanding of if you were to get hit by ransomware tomorrow, would your company be able to A, protect it, or B, minimize that impact on your business? And if, it turns out that you can't, we have steps for how to help you. So in the case of you do a security breach, that you could either prevent it from happening altogether or minimize its impact so it doesn't, cause disastrous consequences for your organization.
Awesome. Well, you guys have a really cool team there. And I know that you guys have been growing. So what other kind of successes or milestones have you hit since you pitched at Founders Live a little over a year ago?
Yeah, so 2021 was a huge year for us. We experienced a lot of growth, had a lot of success, but with that comes a lot of lessons learned. But overall, we grew our sales tremendously. I think 2021 was our most successful year as of now. hoping 2022 will help trump that. But in the last year, we gained 9 new direct customers and 22 partners. So we're a little over 30 now paying customers that we have, which is awesome. We also grew in terms of our own team. So we're now up to 18 full-time developers, which is pretty big, totaling our total full-time employees at rThreat 225. So the team definitely increased. So something that we're really proud of, that we can not only attract such great talent from all over the world, but also, the people believe in our mission. They want to work with us. They're interested in helping us advance in, with our product development and also just with our startup as a whole. So yeah, that was really exciting. Got to expand our team a little bit more. In terms of other really cool events that happened throughout the year, so our CEO, another co-founder, Hugo Sanchez, he participated in Start Engine's pitch competition. So for those that you who might not know, Start Engine is Kevin O'Leary's kind of startup incubator organization. He's Mr. Wonderful on ABC's Shark Tank. So Hugo was able to participate live in that pitch competition against, I believe it was 4 other startups in tech, and he actually ended up winning. So that was a huge bonus for us. Kevin had really nice things to say about our pitch and also just about our mission as a whole as a cybersecurity startup. So we were able to secure a $25,000 grant through Start Engine. Yeah, so that was like really exciting, get some more cash flow going. But also we were able to take advantage of Start Engine's mentorship, advisorship opportunities they were offering as a part of that prize for winning the pitch competition. So yeah, we're looking into working with them in the future. So stay tuned for big updates that we'll probably share later on this year. So yeah, that was a huge one for us, especially since, such a notable investor, not only in the investing community, but also just, he's on TV, he's on ABC as his own TV show. So that was really awesome. We were all very proud of Hugo and all the hard work that we put into, to get up to that point.
That is awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. No, it was super exciting. We were all like really nervous because, talking to Kevin O'Leary, that's a pretty big deal. But yeah, no, it was a huge success. So super, super proud of all the work that was done to accomplish that. And then the last really big update that we had, this kind of poured a little over into 2022. But we were actually invited through Swan Venture Group, the Washington State Department of Commerce, and the Japanese Consulate of Seattle and the Osaka Chamber of Commerce to participate in their Japan Seattle AI Innovation online meetup and pitch event. So that's kind of like a joint effort between Seattle, Washington State Department of Commerce, but also Japan. So e-commerce in Japan, startup organizations in Japan, to really help kind of bridge innovation that's taking place here in Seattle and how, organizations in Japan and abroad in Asia can take advantage of the startup ecosystem that's happening here in Seattle. So we're going to be participating in that tomorrow, actually. So it not only the pitch event, but also just being able to connect with organizations in Japan, in Tokyo and Osaka. So that's a really big, it was an honor to be invited to participate. It was us and 9 other startups that were invited to participate. So again, a lot of new exciting things on the horizon, lots of new opportunities to expand outside of the US. So yeah, super proud of that as well. It's a really great opportunity. We're really looking forward to it.
Oh, awesome. Well, congrats. And we love having you be such one of, our successful Seattle founders going global. You guys have been doing so much. How can our community and Founders Live Seattle ecosystem continue kind of to support you guys? What do you need? How can we continue to help you along this path?
Yeah, so what our big mission for 2022 is to, again, help secure more enterprise clients, kind of help get more investors interested in participating in our seed round. We're still working on that. But really what everyone wants to look at is sales, especially sales in the US. Right now, we've had the most traction in Latin America. that's by far been the most successful region where we've had, just a lot of traction, a lot of interest from organizations. So that's great. That's helping us advance to the stages that we need to be. However, investors, they want to see enterprise clients in the U.S. They want to see big logos. So we have a lot of deals in the works, but any intros, or if you think your organization might be interested in taking a look at one of our demos, if you happen to work in security or in privacy, anything like that, or if you just think like, hey, this is a tool that my organization may need. Maybe you suffered a security breach in the past, or just with the increase in headlines on the news of major corporations getting attacked by ransomware, you might be worried, you might be wondering, hey, like, are we safe? Is this something that we should be concerned about if it hasn't happened to you yet? We're always looking for new partnerships, seeking new clients. So any intros, warm leads, that's something that's always appreciated. Or if you're an investor wanting to invest in a up and coming cybersecurity startup, we would be happy to tell you more about what rThreat is about. And so any help with that in those two areas would be excellent and much appreciated.
Awesome. Well, shout out to Seattle community. We'll love to see how people can come through and help build you guys up even farther. Founders Live is all about giving back, though, opening doors for others. So for those who maybe are less advanced in their entrepreneurial journey, what can you offer to other community members, support, maybe positions? What do you want to bring into rThreat?
Yeah, so our mission at rThreat is to not only succeed in the cybersecurity space, succeed as a startup ourselves, but a big part of our mission is also to give back, especially to underrepresented groups who are wanting to start their own businesses. Myself being a woman, female founder, also a Latina founder. Our other two co-founders, Jesus Garcia and Hugo Sanchez, also being from Latin America, from Mexico City. We're always just looking for ways to help lift others up who want to get in the same space, who want to be entrepreneurs. They want to create their own startups. So any advice, I'm an open book. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. To any one of us, at rThreat, we are more than happy to. If you have questions for us, if you're thinking about starting your own business, we're happy to share, the triumphs that we've had, the lessons learned, the failures, what to do, what not to do. Always really happy to answer any questions. Schedule a 1-hour conversation with you to kind of just go over your ideas, or just advice if you're looking to get into the space in cybersecurity and marketing, whatever it might be, connections. More than happy to help anyone with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Danny. It is so exciting to see your success and everything you've accomplished since we met a little over a year ago, and everything that's happened. So really excited to continue to hear updates and exciting news from you. Thanks so much for being here. And give one more shout out to Seattle community, and we'll let you get on with the rest of your busy day.
Yeah, thanks, Amelia. It was great, and congrats to everyone who participated in the primetime event. That was another really big accomplishment that we were very proud of within the last year. Everyone, I was blown away by all the pitches. Everyone worked so hard, and it was really hard to pick a winner. Huge congratulations to everyone. And also, good luck to everyone participating tonight in this Founders Live episode.
Thanks so much, Danny. Talk to you soon. All right. Well, it was awesome to hear those updates from Danny and rThreat. They are doing incredible stuff. Mr. Wonderful signs off on them, so I guess they're pretty cool. It was so great to meet up with Danny and hear some updates from her. Love this comment from Nick. Danny and rThreat are a perfect example of charging forward and making it happen. So cool to see. Thanks everyone for being here and chatting with us. So up next, we are going to hear from Rebecca with OwnTrail. If you guys have not heard of OwnTrail, look it up. I made one of my own trails before, and they're so fun and so cool to see everyone else's. So Rebecca, let me pull you up. Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. good. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. It's so good to see you again. I know OwnTrail and you have been super busy.
Startup life, right?
Yeah. Well, Rebecca, tell us about what you do. What is OwnTrail all about?
Yeah, so OwnTrail is the platform where women visualize and navigate our life paths. So the core of that is our trail, which is basically the opposite of anything that you would be used to sharing on like LinkedIn or social media or these places that are all about kind of like picture perfect end results and highlight reels. So it's really like, what have our real journeys looked like and what do we really aspire to go to next? And so it's this very authentic and incredibly inspiring way of owning and sharing our journeys. And then from there, that's really the foundation of what we built. So on top of that is this really vibrant community of women that are helping each other navigate their lives in very meaningful and authentic ways. And since we talked last, it's just the community keeps growing, and it's been really amazing to see the impact and the connection that's forming from it.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, I know OwnTrail has been just kind of going gangbusters locally. So what are some of the successes or milestones that you've hit since you pitched at Founders Live last?
Yeah, I was actually, when you're asking someone else about when they last pitched, I'm like, ooh, I should probably have the answer to that, and I don't. I know I got to do twice, once Seattle and once nationally, and I think it was probably about a year ago. But yeah, so much has happened. We, like I mentioned, that I think last time I pitched was really that foundation of trails, which were really powerful in terms of, just taking up space on our own terms and really like sharing who we are unapologetically. And so that really resonated with early members of our community. And our approach has really been a community-driven one in terms of how we develop this product as well, and really like having these two-way dialogues about what to be doing next. And so what became really clear to us is that owning and sharing your story is powerful, but like, what do we do from that? How do we make progress on our journeys? And not the kind of progress of like what the world's telling us to do to make progress, but like progress on our own terms. And so that's really what we've been focusing on. One of the most impactful kind of forms of that is called help beacons. And that's something that we launched, I think about 4 or 5 months ago now. And so basically on milestones on your trail, you can add a help beacon, which is basically like a bat signal that calls out to the whole OwnTrail community that says, this is something I'm navigating right now that I need help with, or this is something that I'm working towards. And so people put that on the milestones on their trails, and the community rallies around and helps. And that can be anything from like, introductions, opportunities, advice, solidarity. I've been there before. And the things that women are asking for help on spans everything from like, the next step in your career to like, navigating like parenting in a pandemic to relationships and, internal kind of self-reflections. And it's really impactful to see what's been kind of surfacing there and the progress that's made because of it. And so, when we kind of look forward, it's really all about that, making progress and the tools and the community to do so.
Oh, that is so awesome. We have a great question from the audience. What has been the toughest hurdle for you, and how did you get over it, in this kind of last year? But year is relative, since COVID times.
Hi, Nick. So when I was last on here, I was in the middle of raising our pre-seed round, and fundraising is hard, and it turned out really good, but I would also consider it a hurdle. So we ended up raising 1.2 million last year pre-seed, and we ended up with amazing investors and that are incredibly supportive and a really diverse cap table, which was one of, and very value aligned. But it was also a hurdle, like fundraising, like especially when like I wasn't willing to compromise on our values or on, the importance of having the diversity of our cap table reflect the diversity of our community. And so when I look back, I feel like probably the most scar tissue from that, even though like it's ended up really well. And now I'm heading out to raise our seed round right now, actually. So doing it all over again and learned a lot from that. But
yeah, can you tell us more about that? What were some issues can you tell us about a situation maybe where you're like, I really need this money, but it really doesn't align with the direction we're headed. Like how did you work through that for yourself?
Yeah, I never got to the point of being offered money that I turned down because I was really pretty hardcore about filtering out people that weren't aligned like earlier on, So like, I think it's really easy when talking with investors. There's a lot of investors that really believe in kind of this growth at all cost mentality and had a lot of advice around that. Or like, kind of the encouraging, there's a lot of ways that we could make money by selling the data of the people in our community, and like full stop, we're not willing to do that. And so I think like there was a lot of conversations with potential investors where they're like, this is really cool, I'd love to see you do this. And we're like, yeah, that's just not how it's going to play out. And so like, it's kind of a self-filtering mechanism. I really like started to build up the confidence of feeling like it is a two-way decision. And I'm also interviewing people for a spot on our cap table, and they need to be values aligned in the right way. And if they're pushing for those kinds of things, then they're not. And so I think that's where most of the kind of friction came in, but it's good friction, right? Like you want to be able to find that out early on. And actually, kind of fun story that I think also has happened since then, and that is very related to that, is that I started feeling like we were kind of being asked to put ourselves into like literally into certain checkboxes of like what type of company we are when I was going through that whole fundraising process. And, I think that the category that probably is the closest to what we are was social media. And we really think of ourselves as being the antithesis to social media and, doing things in a really different way that doesn't result in that same kind of toxicity that exists. And so I coined a term called authentic and started talking about that as like this new type of company that's community centered, but in a really values driven, human centered way where essentially you're not commoditizing people. And this whole really organic community is really formed around that this past year as well. A lot of founders reaching out and saying like, I identify with that. I am also building an authentic company. I didn't have a name for it. And so like kind of, it's one of those like build your own table things. We have this really vibrant community of amazing founders now. And I've started sending out authentic deal flow every month to the investors that are excited about this kind of business. And there's like this whole new kind of ecosystem forming there. So it's, I'm obviously a big believer in community, since that's what OwnTrail is at its core, and kind of creating those communities around us to support the growth in the way that we want to.
I love that. We have another great question from the audience. Hey, Louise, thanks for being here. How do you ease back on all that you could do with your platform and stay focused on what you do best? I'm sure you have all kinds of big ideas. How do you, kill bad ideas quickly, or less generative ideas, to quote Dave Parker?
It's a great question. Hi, Louise. I think well, first of all, we're a small team. There's 6 of us full-time and 3 part-time. So we have to stay laser focused on prioritizing what we're working on. And, that I come from a product management background, and actually my co-founder, Katie, is probably even better at that in terms of the laser focus and prioritization. So we're all about that. But kind of the way that we do that too is through partnering with different organizations and companies that have aligned goals, but tend to be much more in-depth in a specific kind of identities or experiences. So we have, I think, around 30 partners at this point that have communities or members that are focused on very specific identities of women or experiences that women are navigating. And by partnering with them, we're able to provide the technology and the infrastructure for their members to connect with each other through their trails and be able to cross amplify and work with each other. And we have a whole roadmap of how we're doing more of that. But what that allows for is we're able to go have a ton of breadth in terms of who we're serving and how we're doing it, this whole structure of sharing trails and connecting and helping each other along the way. And then there's these, so for example, one of the communities we partner with is Buddy, and they're focused on cancer patients. So that's an experience that you don't want to skirt over. And in order to support them on OwnTrail, that we can't go that deep on that one scenario necessarily while also having the breadth. But by partnering with Buddy, then they have that depth and we have the breadth. And so it's this really powerful combination. And the same holds for a lot of different identities and experiences that are represented in this partner network that we have. So that's one of the kind of strategic ways that we've been able to, ensure that we're really focused on a huge diversity of community members on OwnTrail, which, the idea is being able to see people who look like you in the places that you aspire to or in the things that you're navigating in life. And of course, look like you can be identities or experiences. But in order to do that, you have to have an incredibly diverse user base. And so that partnership really allows us to do that in a meaningful way.
Oh, that is awesome. You are doing so much to give back and support our local entrepreneurs and, awesome female leaders. What can we do to support you in your next iteration?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, and I mean, I'm a Seattle girl. I've been here since '97, and I love Seattle. And we do have a strong local presence, and we've been growing globally as well, which I love to see too. So, just kind of noting that because I get really excited about the potential because it's a virtual platform of how we're able to connect women throughout the world. Our second biggest country is actually India right now, and we have a pretty strong community there. But for anyone watching, I think we've been growing totally organically. And so really like word of mouth is really powerful for us. Certainly for anyone that feels comfortable in a women-centered space, would love for you to share your trails on OwnTrail. You just go to owntrail.com and share your journey. And I think that there's a little bit of unpacking to do there in doing so, because we're so used to reciting these kind of narratives and bios of ourselves that we've told everywhere else. So the process of kind of unpacking what we usually recite and then starting to share like the real kind of experiences and perspectives that we have. I invite you all to do that because it's a powerful thing to do. And then please share OwnTrail with people that any women that inspire you and or who you'd like to get to know more through their trails. We really appreciate sharing. And then like I said, we're getting ready to raise our seed rounds and happy to talk. To be honest with that, as it turns out so far, our most of our investors are in Seattle so far, and I would love to have more local investors. I've really branched out worldwide and certainly across the US, and we have a few amazing angels here too. But would love to continue to be part of the thriving Seattle startup ecosystem in all the ways that we can.
I love it. Well, we already have a tip from the comments. Marta says you should totally connect with Power to Fly and Career Contessa. Yes. So hopefully you guys can both join us for our after party later and, chat more about that opportunity. Really quick, Rebecca, I want to know what's next for you and what's next for OwnTrail. What are we looking forward to achieving in the next year?
Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit, but it's really about creating utility for making progress. And some of that's kind of individual tools for making progress, and some of it's community-centered tools. But that's really how we see it growing. OwnTrail is the place where women can go to navigate their lives, and in every way that it's across our personal, professional lives, and in every way that we need support to navigate them. That's what we're providing, and we're building that out. And so some really cool inflection points coming up. But I would, Marta and anyone else, connect with me on OwnTrail, or you can find me anywhere. But I definitely welcome intros to other communities that you think we should be collaborating with, or just reach out. I just love meeting people. So definitely reach out, and I'm short answer, I'm focused on OwnTrail and really excited to be building it out so much further. We have huge ideas and huge vision, and it's just really fun to be executing on it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight, Rebecca. It's so cool to hear everything that you have been up to over the last year and are planning for the next year. So thank you for being one of our Founders Live Seattle superstars, and we will continue to watch your growth and root for you from our OwnTrail. All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Awesome. If you guys have not created your OwnTrail, it is super cool. I was just talking to kind of a young person the other day and was telling them about, I'm in my mid-30s and I probably had 3 separate careers already. And seeing that there isn't a set trajectory can be so awesome. I am so excited to welcome our next guest, Tom Thomas of Votegrity. Tom, welcome to Founders Live. Welcome back to Founders Live. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you, Amelia. It's been way too long.
I know.
Checking the calendar, it was actually a year ago, almost to the date that I was on Founders Live last time.
Yes, you were our January 2021 presenter. So Tom, for those of you who maybe missed last year's show, what is Votegrity? What do you do?
Yeah, the simplest way we put it is Votegrity helps customers run better elections with a comprehensive solution that reduces the tedious, time-consuming, and complex voting process. So in other words, we bring the ballot to the voter and really make it more accessible. And that's a lot harder than it sounds when you try to solve this in a fully auditable way that ensures the voter, the election administrator, and any independent authority can validate every vote was counted as intended and not tampered with along the way. And that's exactly what we're doing.
That's awesome. So tell us, so I know there's, we think of election voting, but I know that's kind of on the future for you, but what types of, kind of everyday voting are you helping people automate?
Yeah, we're really focused right now on homeowners associations because it's really ground zero for all types of voting because those same people vote in those public elections. We also have a lot of success with unions, private clubs such as teachers associations, Native American tribes, and things like that. So it's really anything in the private sector. And it's really the whole process. It's not just the voting, but we can actually help with the nominations because we know a lot of these boards are volunteer driven. So we can help you get those candidates into the slate and digitize the information to make sure that when you're voting on them, you all have the same information that you're voting. This is Amelia. And we also can help you stay in touch with the pulse of the community because so often you vote, you get the board into power, and they're like, well, now what? What do we need to go work on? Is it security? Is it EV chargers? Is it parks and recreation? And we really take you through the entire life cycle of ensuring your community is fully empowered and in touch with the people that you elected.
Yeah, it's such important work. I'm really excited to see, I know you guys are in kind of V1, but V4 is going to be totally changing. Can you tell us a little bit about how you think about both the short-term and the long-term vision of your business? Because they're, inherently the same, but very different kind of stages, resources, outputs. How can you hold both in your mind at the same time?
Yeah, that's kind of the most exciting part is our strategy has really been start with the private sector, start super hyper focused on, again, homeowner associations, but then expand out into adjacent markets, again, the unions, teacher associations, etc. But if you think about that, that's just domestic for phase one. Phase two, whether you're in the Philippines, India, Latin America, or any part of Europe, they have the exact same problem. They have the same kinds of associations. Sorry, I got a 3-year-old who likes to crash meetings.
Oh, hello.
So really, again, phase two is expanding out internationally instead of just domestically. And then phase three is ensuring by the time she's not so small that we're doing this through the public sector. But expanding out bigger, where Votegrity wants to go is not just voting, it's decision making. Because everything we do every day is a decision. Mergers and acquisitions, shareholder meetings, public opinions on which part of Netflix was our favorite, or anything else we do. We all should have a chance to make our voice heard and guarantee it was not altered in the process to get really our ultimate desires captured and then delivered upon. So I really want us to grow into that ultimate voting company that ensures every voter is enfranchised and not lost or questioned.
That is awesome. Well, I know it has been quite the year. There's been a couple elections throughout the world since January 2021. Mm-hmm. So what are some successes that Votegrity has had that you can brag about, or some big milestones along your journey?
Yeah, a couple of different paths. So one, we finished the Jones Foster Accelerator through UW. So I went back to school. We'll say I'm not the youngest of students, but went back and got my MBA. And that gave us $25,000 in non-dilutive funding, which is a great seed to launch out of in February. Then we were so lucky as to get in with Nick and the WTIA, and we just finished on Friday the cohort number 7 through them. So we've had a lot of real help in the local ecosystem on accelerators and incubators. And then also the Seattle Angel Conference. We were with one of the final 6 companies out of almost 90 in SAC 19. And that was an absolutely awesome experience to go through due diligence and really learn from what investors want to know about. What is it, the questions you need to be answering before you go on the main stage and ask for investment. So then if you pivot a little bit to more of the financial and impact side, we enfranchised almost 100,000 voters in more than 6 countries globally in 1 year. We went from 0 revenue to quarter-over-quarter growth every single quarter in a row. And this, call it being quarter 5, we're already in 1 month, our first month in this quarter, already 5x all the revenue we took in quarter 1 last year. So we are
Wow. Congrats, Tom. That's huge.
It's been awesome. And we still got a long ways to go, but we can see that trajectory heading in the right direction.
Love that. Nick has a great question. What has been the most awesomest, cool thing that happened in 2021 for Votegrity? Love this question.
Yeah, I think it's probably the diversity we added to our team. You know, we started out with a couple folks, and we added a couple founders of diverse. We started expanding out our advisory team to also cover that diversity, because we all know it's proven, literally, scientifically, that the more diverse your team is, you're going to be so much more successful, because then it's not everyone having groupthink or coalition, but you start challenging each other. Psychological safety, devil's advocate, you start naming the conversations, and you get so much better results. And that's definitely where we're excited, is to do what many companies desire to be and have an intentional culture from day 0.
That is awesome. I know you guys are doing a lot. What do you need from the community to kind of get to your next phase?
Yeah, I think just like my peers that are just absolutely awesome that's been on the stage tonight, it's all around helping us connect with those homeowners associations, property managers, the decision makers that are really transitioning from, call it raise your hand voting or paper voting, to a digitally transformed world. I mean, to be clear, we do have the ability to run paper elections, online elections, or a hybrid of both. But we're really looking for those companies, especially the snowbirds, where their people aren't in the clubhouse voting, but yet they don't want their HOA dues to be raised or other special assessments imposed upon them without their voice to be heard and captured. So anyone that's out there part of an HOA, a union, or any other club that could really use increased accessibility and reduced cost for your elections, please ping us. We'd love to talk and how we can help you out.
I love that. You also are growing, expanding. Do you have any offers for other community members?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 2 sides to this offer. One is the non-Votegrity side, and then I'll come back to the Votegrity side. On the non-Votegrity side, it's not overly announced yet, but we're actually working on bringing back Startup Weekend again. So we have approval from Techstars. We've applied. We have approval. We're working with John Seacrest and a handful of folks for March 18th to relaunch what's been long time, since 2019, getting all the folks together and building startups again in literally 72 hours. So that's coming. You'll have a whole bunch more information through marketing, etc. So if you know aspiring founders, whether they're college students, young professionals, or old professionals that just want to get together and find a peer and see what it's like to build a company, please check out Startup Weekend on March 18th. On the Votegrity side, community offers, we've learned so much in the last 18 to 24 months around Seattle Angel Conference, WTIA, all the accelerators, how to work with the universities, the entrepreneurship programs. Don't hesitate to tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, who do you know in this space, or how did you guys do it? Because all of what we've been talking about tonight was done on a shoestring. We took no investment until late November. And we got to profitability purely on managing our burn rate. And a lot of companies can't say that as a startup. So I'd love to share with anybody else that wants to hear how we did it, so they too can follow in our footsteps and really change the world and create awesome businesses for people that should have really cool jobs.
Yeah, I love that. And there's a couple questions in the chat we don't have time to get to. Join us in the Kumo space afterwards. But really quickly, Tom, what's next for you? What's next for Votegrity?
Yeah, next on the business side, we are targeting 3 to 5x growth this year. We want to exceed $1 million in top line revenue. We're building out our advisory board. We added quite a few folks that many of you may know. We're not going to use their names because it's not fair to them or me. But we're building that team out. And most importantly, though, is to create equitable jobs for people this year. As we raise that revenue, to bring in young folks, old folks, and all the different folks to join the team and have a meaningful job. And I work at Costco, to be transparent, so I'm all about giving good pay for an honest day's work. And I want to do the same thing with Votegrity. So as we grow, hopefully we'll hit the audience and say, hey, if you're looking for a job, come join us. But it's all part of the life cycle.
I love it. Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me. It is always so good to catch up with you and hear what you're up to. I am always sending recent grads your way, so I hope that tap the community for what you need. Community members, reach out to Tom and let him know how he can connect. Right, we have a lot of questions that I think have gone unanswered in the chat, so join us for Kumo Space after. Tom, thank you for being here. Appreciate you spending your evening with us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and hopefully to see everybody soon.
All right, thanks, Tom. All right, well, those are all the updates from our companies. Head on over to Kumo Space to network with us. It is the coolest interactive virtual networking platform I have ever seen. If you have never done it before, it might take half a second to get oriented. And if you have done it before, it's super fun. So join us over there. We're going to be doing our Kumo Space next for the after party. So refresh your beverage, join us over there, and thank you all so much for being here tonight. Like this video so future people can find it. And thank you, everyone. Stick around. And this video will be on YouTube for as long as YouTube stays around, so you can always rewatch it. Thank you. Join us over at Kumo Space and have a great rest of your night. We will see you February 24th. In person at the Collective. We cannot wait to high five you in person. Thank you so much to all of our awesome presenters for sharing updates, letting us know what they have been up to over the last year. We are so excited for an awesome 2022. Make sure you check out the February 24th event. Tickets are up. Early bird tickets are free for you right now. So really excited to see you there. And thanks for another great Founders Live Seattle. Please connect with me, and we will see you soon.